Hey, y'all, I'm Shane Sams. Thanks for listening to my podcast today. Super excited to bring to you another incredible, successful expert, author, an amazing entrepreneur to inspire you and to teach you how you can find success as well. It is my great privilege today to introduce you to Blair Thielemier. Now, I got a special place in my heart for Blair. Blair is actually one of my students over at Flip Lifestyle from the Flip Lifestyle community. You know, we have helped thousands of people over at Flip Lifestyle start, build, and grow online businesses. And of course, some of the amazing people in our community have done ridiculous things, creating $1 million businesses of their own, have grown into entrepreneurs that I look up to myself. And Blair is definitely one of these people. Blair runs a website called the Pharmapreneur Academy, where she coaches pharmacy owners how to add services to their pharmacies. You know, with the changing nature of the economy, the changing nature of the health industry, pharmacists have been pushed into the role of basically just dispensing medicine. It's Blair's mission and vision to help pharmacies expand out beyond the pills, beyond the medicine, and to serve their clients well, either in therapeutic medicine or even in prevention. Not only that, she helps pharmacists add hundreds, thousands of dollars to their revenue, to their income by adding services to their pharmacies. Now, Blair's membership is incredible. She's making tens of thousands of dollars every single month, has pharmacists from all over the world inside of her community. That alone could get her on this podcast. But I actually found out that Blair had been adding high ticket services, $25,000 products to her membership site. She was able to create this product, launch this out. She had 11 people pay her $25,000 in her initial launch in her first 2 cohorts. And I was like, Blair, you just created $250,000. How in the world did you do that? And she said, I got a 4-step process for building high ticket offers. I said, well, hold the horses. Don't tell me anything. We got to record this conversation so that I can share this with everybody else. So on today's podcast, we're going to talk to Blair about how not only she grew an amazing online business, how she makes hundreds of thousands of dollars from home, but we're going to talk about the exact process she uses to create high ticket offers. You're going to learn Blair's 4-step process for creating an amazing high ticket offer. You're going to learn how she sells this high ticket offer. How does she find customers and get people to buy it? How does she pitch a $25,000 product? And in my favorite part of today's interview, we're going to learn about all the sticking points, all the problems, all the obstacles, all the potholes that Blair tripped over as she was creating, launching, and growing this high ticket part of her business so that you don't have to do the same thing if you decide to go this route. I mean, imagine getting 10 people to pay you $25,000 and opening and closing that product 3 to 4 times a year. I'm not very good at math, but I think that adds up to $1 million business. So wherever you're listening in to the Shane Sams Show today, pour yourself a cup of coffee, grab yourself a mason jar of sweet tea, get a notebook and a pen and take some notes. I took 3 pages of notes myself during my interview today with Blair Thielemier. Three, 2, 1. Hi, Blair.
Hey, Shane.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
We have a lot of business stuff to talk about. It's funny, it's funny when I reconnect with people who I haven't talked to on a podcast for a while or haven't talked to in a while, because like we see, like, you see people on Facebook and stuff, and then you forget that everyone's like living life and building businesses and doing all these things, and like then you hear what someone's doing, and it's like, you're doing what? Like, when did that happen? Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? And like, I get on here and you're like, oh yeah, I started launching a $5,000 per person mastermind. Like, what are you talking about, Blair? What are you doing over there?
And you said, and you're still doing the membership site too? And I said, yeah, both.
Of course. Like, why would you not want your floor to be higher than everyone else's ceiling, and then just blow the roof off and go into outer space with everything that you're doing like right now? Are you still in Arkansas? You're still in Arkansas, aren't you?
Yes.
Did they win last week? They played last week, didn't they? They won.
Yeah, they played terrible, but they ended up winning.
Yeah, Kentucky played good. Did you see the Kentucky game? Like,
no.
I was like, is that actually Kentucky football? That can't be Kentucky football. Like we've been pretty good the last couple of years, but like we can throw the football now. So anyway, before this becomes an SEC title defense here between Arkansas and Kentucky. So like, where did we'll go back to like what you did before this, but like where did you like decide to do a $25,000 offer? Because a lot of people out there like someone pays you 25 grand. Now tell me what it is. This is for pharmacists, right? And
It is.
Okay, what does a $25,000 offer look like? And we'll talk more about the pharmacy side of it here in a minute.
So we're calling it a mentorship because so many of the members in the Pharmapreneur Academy were wanting to accelerate their growth. And so I wanted to create something that allowed me to work more closely with these people. And I didn't know what it was exactly going to look like. So I had been going to conferences. I'd been thinking about like, what are we going to do differently this year to kind of take the Pharmapreneur Academy to the next level? And, because I'm so busy, I didn't know one-on-ones, it's hard to really scale when you're still doing so much of the fulfillment. So what we did was we launched a high-value, high-ticket mentorship program called the Inner Circle Mentorship. And it's part of the Pharmapreneur Academy, but it's a 6-month program. It includes a lifetime access to the Pharmapreneur Academy membership, as well as 1 VIP day with myself.
Oh, wow.
3 follow-up, 1-hour follow-ups over the course of the 6 months. If they get stuck, something like that.
So those aren't regularly scheduled. You get the chance to tell them when to come or
Yes.
whatever. Yeah.
Yep. They can schedule it whenever. And then we also have cohort meetings once a week that are kind of like their office hours.
Gotcha.
So we launch these cohorts 3 times a year. And our next cohort is going to be opening in October. So I'm very excited about that. But essentially, we open these cohorts and that group that joins stays together as a group. They meet twice a week or every other week, twice a month in their cohort. And that's when they have priority hot seats. So we would have like the April group would have their cohort meetings on Tuesday. And then the June cohort would have their meetings on the opposite Wednesdays.
I gotcha.
But they could both attend each other's meetings.
Oh, I see.
Priority hot seats on those days.
And that's super cool because that's fascinating. So like I have multiple roundtable meetings right now. But that's cool because you get the most value out of listening to other people's hot seats. So being able to come to all the hot seats gives you all that value. Plus you eventually will get to rotate through yourself. Like if you had a question in the moment or something like that. Right.
Exactly.
Is there additional content or is it just they get the membership and then they get this other stuff on? And this is, so they pay $25,000 for 6 months, correct?
Yes.
So if someone did this back to back, that's $50,000. Like if they crushed it and did it back to back, that's 50 grand in a year. And like how many of those 25,000 have you sold already? And you've only done like 1 or 2 cohorts so far. So, right. So like
11, we've got 11 women in the mentorship program right now. It's not just for women, but it just happens.
Yeah.
We tend to attract the people who we are. So we've got 11 women and they're just building businesses and
they're on fire basically because of this. So you conjured $250,000 by adding this offer on top of your membership. You just straight like Harry Potter spell. You just said, I'm going to make $250,000 more because, and you just said, I'm adding this on top of the membership site. Did all these people come from the membership?
No.
Interesting.
They didn't all come from the membership. It was about 50-50 of people that had come through the academy and wanted that next level versus people that were following me that were a little bit more advanced in their business and was always kind of wanting to work with me more closely.
I gotcha. So this is interesting. So okay, so let's back up. Let's back up first and get everybody up to speed here because people are going to hear this and be like, what is going on? This person's inventing $250,000. All right. So long story short, Blair was a member of the Flip Lifestyle community and you had this budding membership you were trying to launch, the Pharmapreneur Academy, right? And I remember I used you as an example at one of our live events because you had this great thing where you like I had this analogy where you had the most amazing membership I had ever seen, but it was like you had this castle on a hill and you had built a moat around it, filled it with alligators, put spikes in it, and you would like had this big join fee and wouldn't let anybody in, and then you drop the join fee and all of a sudden you have a bunch of members. Right?
Yeah. So that was I guess 2019.
The world blurs together since the pandemic. So
maybe it was 2018.
I think it was. Yeah.
That was when you guys had the very first Flip Lifestyle event.
Yes.
And so I came in person. And before I came to that event, like we had like 13 days or something. And you were like, I want you to do a webinar before the event. And I was like, this is
like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Labor Day Monday, we're deciding this. So I told you, I was like, Shane, I've been stuck at like 5K a month. We're retaining members, but we're just not growing. It seems like we're kind of plateaued. And we went over my offer and we did have this big upfront join fee. And you're like, let's drop that, double the monthly price, launch this big webinar, like really get excited about it. And so we put this plan together. And from that webinar on, it's been like 25K months.
It's amazing how just one thing like that though, like, and it's funny because like, on the membership side of things, like that's all I see all day long. I just see hundreds and hundreds of memberships, people in the forums, Facebook groups, people we coach, everything else. And it's like, you can kind of start to see that it's usually one log in the river that's kind of clogging everything up. And when you drop that, like everything was that the time capsule launch? Was it that, or was that the next thing? Like when I talk about you on stage in that talk, I was like prim, proper, professional Blair. That's what I always used to say, just prim, proper, professional Blair. And then I somehow talked you into doing an iPhone film the wrong way sweatsuit, digging up a time capsule, predicting the future commercial.
Yes. That was the greatest Facebook ad video I've ever done, for sure.
That's incredible. So like, then so you build this thing, you jump from 5 to 25, you're crushing it. I mean, kudos, because that's incredible getting a membership like that, over $20,000 a month. And that's life-changing type stuff, And then when did you did you decide to add this 25K offer just because you wanted to mix it up? You want to do something different? Or like, maybe there's kind of a hidden thing in the story here. Half the people are in your community that joined this. They definitely wanted the next level. And then you clearly had people on your list who you weren't able to serve because they wanted to go to the next level beyond what you were offering in the membership. So did you just feel that intuitively and you added this offer after that?
No, it was only after I invested in a mentorship program myself.
Ah, interesting.
That I saw how much value I was getting out of this very high level, high ticket mentorship, really, that I was like, okay, maybe that I can bring this back, because that's what I've done throughout my whole journey is I've seen what's working in the online marketing community and seen what's working in business and in coaching services and brought it back to the pharmacy industry and said, okay, here's what's working in other industries. Let's bring it back. And that's how I've kind of created this like blue ocean in pharmacy around business coaching services. So I knew I wanted to do something different after 2020. So in February 2021, I was learning more about these high ticket offers and how to kind of launch my own mastermind program. And, we thought, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we did a 2-day virtual event, and turns out there was quite a few people that were interested in working with me on more closely in this mentorship program.
Yeah. And it's funny because, I love that. I don't know if this will work, but we might as well try. Right? Like it's like you got to just put it out there. What's the downside of me asking for this? Nobody takes it. Well, nobody's doing it now. So what does it matter? You know, exactly. It is awesome too that you brought this back. Like you were getting so much value, because the more I'm in this too, the more I realize like people who pay attention, and the more you pay attention. Like when if I buy something for $1,000 or less, I mean, granted, I'm speaking at a place of we do things right. Like if I was a true beginner, I need that entry level product. I needed those when we started out back in 2012, right, to be an entrepreneur. But when you get to a certain point, like if you don't invest more, you don't pay attention to it. Like if I go, if I go away for a weekend and see somebody speak and it costs me $1,000 and it's like, whatever, right? If I give, Russell Brunson $30,000 and I show up at Boise, I'm coming back and I'm getting my money back out of that. Right. So like, it's the same thing with this. Like these people who are investing this inside of your Pharmapreneur Academy, which then goes and helps pharmacies grow their business and add services and do all those things. It's like, they're going to get their money's worth, because they're going to implement it. They're not just going to take the course. They're not just going to come to member calls. They're like, okay, I invested this money. I love the time bound. Like I thought this was for a year. I didn't realize that was for 6 months. So you're like giving these people like, you got 6 months to do what I tell you so that you can go make all this money back and then pay me again. Like if they want to keep going, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They have the option to renew and keep going. I think, I haven't really decided exactly where we're going to max out this program at, but I'm excited to see where it goes. And right now I'm not looking at hiring coaches to kind of take over, but just looking at other high ticket programs, that's where I see these programs going. So now an additional value add is they can still work directly with me.
Sure. I tell you, let's talk about these high ticket offers. Let's just break this down mastermind style, and we'll just figure this out. So like, all of this looks exactly very similar to what we're kind of building on our end. Like we have a $29,000 package program that we've kind of put together. They do still get access to me. We're still doing that as well. But I actually have started to change my mindset on this. One thing I've realized on the podcast, and as even leading the community, I've always been able to lead groups of people. I've always been able to kind of inspire and motivate, and I can get in the weeds and I can do the tactical stuff for sure. Right. One thing that I really struggle at is holding people accountable. Like I have to hire people to do that. Like we have community managers. Jocelyn's really good at that. Other people that work for me are really good at that. And as we've been wrestling with high ticket offers on top of our memberships, I realized that other people are just better at me at coaching. Like they just are. And it's almost like if I don't go hire coaches to coach these people, because coaching it's half the tactics, half the process, but it's also like making sure people follow through, right? Like it's checking on people, it's following up, it's doing those things. And our process in our membership, which I know the Pharmapreneur Academy is this way too. Like our process works. If you just do what we tell you in the Flipped Lifestyle Blueprint, you're going to be fine, right? You just got to do it. So it's not, the coaching is more like, oh, you need to watch this video, or you need to listen to this Q&A, or you need to find this, or maybe there's some nuance that you add to it. But really it's getting the right person leading and coaching those people. And in a high ticket offer, if it's all about you, you kind of deny your student the opportunity to be coached by somebody who's really gifted and skilled at accountability and follow through. And that's kind of where we are. We're starting to look for that now. Like, how can we get out of the way so that the high ticket person gets more result? But it's hard to do that because you feel like you're the draw, right? Like people follow Blair, and it's like, you got to kind of step back from that a little bit,
It is. And I don't want, what actually I see happening is some of our mentors be able to put them in coaching positions under me, so that they've gone through the program, they've experienced it, and they know what I would say in certain situations. Like they can almost channel Blair. Like they know what I'm going to say before I even say it at this point. And so having some people like that, because we're all pharmacists, that I can put into those roles around me is the way I kind of see the Pharmapreneur Academy growing and becoming like a business incubator, an umbrella. And in the future, what I would actually like to do is with, all this revenue that's coming in is to take that and reinvest it and partner in some of these mentee businesses. And then that way I would, be like a 50-50 partner or whatever in certain businesses as well. So I'm helping them grow their businesses, and it's all under the umbrella of this Pharmapreneur Academy portfolio.
It's crazy what happens when you one thing that we have probably done a poor job of teaching over at Flipped Lifestyle is like, it is important to add other offers besides the membership, because it makes you think out of the box, and it makes you think about things like, one thing that we're dabbling into now is services for membership owners, right? Like Jocelyn's always wanted to do this, but we've always kind of piecemealed it into like, oh, well, we can outsource this customer service, so we can do customer service for memberships, or maybe we can partner with this person and they can build their Kajabi website, their membership area, they can do this. And it's just occurred to us recently, like, wait a minute, what if we were just like an all-in-one solution? And people who we have all the time, people will come to us with lots of audiences and stuff, like they have huge audiences, like they'll have 100,000 YouTube followers, but they have no clue how to monetize it, right? And God clearly put them on this earth to do what they do, not what we do, right? And we were like, well, we know how to do this, we should just partner with them. And then, like you said, like you get that synergy, you get that reciprocity. But then, like other products, like you may not have even thought about yet, is that like, have you heard my podcast with Brooke Castillo?
No,
from the Life Coach School.
I know who she is, but
well, Brooke Castillo was in the Flipped Lifestyle community. And,
no, I didn't.
Oh yeah, like I have the exact email exchange where she decided to do a membership over courses. And she was like, and so she goes out, she was listening to our podcast, she launches her membership, she's making $30 million a year or something crazy. You need to listen to that podcast. It's awesome. And I learned a ton from it. And like what she did was, not only did she have her thing where she was the life coach school, people could get life coaching through her product, but she realized, wait a minute, I could create a product to train up my own coaches. And so then she went back and like created the life coach certification program. Like if you could even do that, like you could have a Pharmapreneur Academy program. Once you get to like 50 people that have been through your coaching program, maybe some of these people would like to go into this full time, or would like to become coaches, or do have, the personality and they love your stuff and they just like, I just want to do this instead of what I'm doing now. And that could even be another revenue stream. Like she charges like $18,000 for that certification or something crazy. And she does a lot of them. She does a lot more because she offers, Brooke offers one-on-one call with her monthly membership. So she needs a lot of coaches to fulfill that. But Brooke's not fulfilling that stuff anymore. And when she stopped fulfilling it, that's when she went from like 7 figures to 8 figures. Like when she stopped that. So I think people think I've got to remove myself, and that's the wrong thing. It's I've got to upgrade my coaches to be better than me. And then my people will be served more, and then they'll get more like benefit out of it. Have you already seen people getting results from the 25K program? Because it's pretty new. Like when did you launch this?
Yeah, we launched it in April. And so one of my clients, Jamie, she already had her, what we call the 6-figure offer. She already had her 6-figure offer in place. So it was just putting her irresistible offer machine in place. It was that funnel.
Yeah.
So that's what she and I worked on first. We did a webinar and, helped her get a whole bunch of people on the webinar and then convert that. And she made $66,000 off of that webinar.
See, man, you trade 25 for 66 every time, every single time. If you don't, you got something wrong with you out there, people, right? You got to listen to that. So her first, what did she say after that? Was she like, oh my gosh, that worked? Like, or was she freaking out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so, she's a pharmacist, and just the fact that you can do a one-night webinar and be able to convert like that on a product that's going to help your clients and see how you can scale that. She was like, I'm putting my next one on the calendar now.
They did not teach us this at pharmacy school. You know? Yeah. Have you learned, I'll tell you what I learned when we launched a higher ticket coaching program and I started working in our group program, especially was like how much I learned about our members that made the membership itself better. Right.
Yes.
Have you found that your high ticket program has done that, has taught you things to be like, oh my gosh, I need to change this in the membership itself so that I can get more people to this level, or this would help more people. Have you found that?
Yeah, so we have a beginner's business blueprint, kind of similar to the Flip Lifestyle blueprint, and it basically helps pharmacists figure out like their elevator pitch and their messaging, and I realized in this group that it they weren't thinking big enough. They were still thinking inside their box of I'm a traditional pharmacist, this is what I can do. And so this mentorship program has helped me to realize that one of the gifts that I had is to help people see a bigger vision for their lives, to see a bigger vision for their consulting businesses. And so what we've actually done is added a new third tier to our business blueprint that helps bridge the gap between the elevator pitch, the target market, the client avatar, some of those exercises to, okay, now you're going from solo business owner to manager to CEO to visionary entrepreneur, and helping people to connect the version of them that's just starting out to the version that can launch a webinar and make 66 grand in one night.
Yeah. Yeah. From their pharmacy. You should do your first webinar from the pharmacy. You should turn out the lights and like stand at the cash register. And it's like, I'm going to check y'all out like you're popping pills. Let's go. Like, I'm just going to check all the $66,000. It's I wrote down something you said. It's almost like everyone needs a high ticket to see the blind spots in their lower tickets. Right. Mm-hmm. And also people always ask us like, well, I already have all my content in the membership, but like you're not trying to just like, you don't want to create a high ticket that competes with your low ticket. It's something different. This is a different process. It's a different program. The other thing is almost like a feature, right, of the high ticket. Like the membership becomes a feature of that, and you don't have to like worry about it. It's funny you went to mindset. Like, do you find that the higher ticket people are there more to get past those mindsets, or are they wanting the tactics? Like, is it real super strategic, or do you spend a lot of your time in your higher ticket, like on mindset stuff, like getting them to see the vision, or how tactical is it getting in there? Because that's what everybody thinks. It's like, ooh, we're going to get in the weeds, but is it that way, or what are you finding?
So we do get in the weeds on like the VIP day. So there's 4 kind of pillars in our success formula. One is the 6-figure offer. So it's working backwards. If you want to make 25 grand a month to replace your pharmacy salary, let's work backwards. If you're selling a $50 product, you know how many you need to sell to get to 25 grand a month. Well, let's say we need to start with a minimum of a $2,500 product then, and sell 10 of those per month. So that's a little bit, more doable for the clients that we're working with as consultants.
Because they're not going to be like big audience builders, I would say, in this space. That's not what they're doing. Yeah, that's a totally different ballpark than the influencer side, or even information marketing side, where you might be able to go build a big audience around something. That's when you can go lower ticket wide. But these people might have 25 people on a webinar.
Yeah, narrow and deep is kind of our focus. So I do get in the weeds with them on that, of like really helping them decide on their niche, figure out, how to package that offer, how to attract those people. And then that's the irresistible offer machine. How do you build that funnel, whether it's a webinar or an in-person speaking engagement, or being part of a mastermind or whatever. And then kind of moving on to our 5-star delivery system, which is how do you put team members in place? How do you put automations in place and software systems in place so that you're not the bottleneck in your business? And then the fourth pillar is how to dominate in your space. So how to become the unquestionable, thought leader, one of the thought leaders in the space, and using your expertise in pharmacy, but also your background of other experiences, even what you're into. So one of our mentees is actually a homeopathic practitioner. And so she's combining homeopathy and pharmacy.
Oh, that's interesting. Differentiate herself. Yeah.
Yeah. This whole new thing that she's, working with pharmacists to teach them how to integrate like homeopathy in first aid care. Cause there's really not a lot of stuff on the market for insect bites and stings and plantar fasciitis and, some of those bumps and bruises that especially those of us with kids know that we're having to treat all the time.
Yeah. Yesterday, my Anna Jo went with her friends to the lake. My buddy's got a boat, so he took them out with his daughter. Isaac was at the house. He was bored, and he wanted to bring his buddy over. One buddy couldn't come. Next buddy comes over, and they're just hanging out about, we got a lake behind our house, and they're just out there hanging out, having fun, doing things. So they're waiting on me to pull them on the tube, on the jet ski, right? I was going to pull them on the tube a little bit. And they got bored, and they got multiple oars, and they were having an oar fight on my paddleboard. And next thing you know, you hear whack, and one of them now has a pump knot the size of. So it's like if you had told me when I woke up yesterday, or concussion would have been what we were dealing with yesterday, I would have been like, no, that's. But then I realized I have kids, so we're going to be like, where is that in the homeopathic aisle? Is there or concussion ointment? You need to talk to your friend and see if I can.
There is. There's remedies for all kinds of bumps and bruises and scrapes, and my kids are the same way. They go outside, they climb trees, they get cut up, and then they come in, they freak out, and I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? Like put Neosporin on it? And then
that's all we got. That's all we got. Yeah, Have you seen the Shark Tank thing with the bug bite that sucks the bug bite poison out of you? Did you see that Shark Tank? Oh, this is great. You got to see this. Like there's this little thing and it works. It's really good. Like it's so say you get a mosquito bite and your homeopathic pharmacist person needs to do an article about this. So it's like a little hole and it looks like a syringe, but you put it over the bug bite and it's down
like a vacuum.
And it pulls up and it pulls the poison out of the wound so that some of it comes out and you can actually see liquid coming out of it sometimes, like when you do it, and then you clean it off and it makes it itch and not last as long. It's amazing. Isn't that cool? Like that's incredible. Yeah, it's correct. So your 4 pillars are create a 6-figure offer, working backwards from what you think. So it sounds like that's based on audience size, right?
And what their goals are with their audience. Do they want to create a big
goals
audience?
And audience? I gotcha. Yeah. Like me, like I want to create a big audience, but it's someone who's local might want to be like, I just need a few hundred people locally to watch this and I can probably do some stuff.
Yep, exactly.
And then you create the funnel, which is the process from discovery to purchase. 5-star delivery. I love that. That fulfillment side is so important because if you don't fulfill correctly, you're messed up. And then you dominate in your space. So this is actually like, it looks like, I'm going to just go ahead and say this, like you've got a 7-figure offer now in your hands. Like this, you just have only done a few cohorts, but it's going to crush it. Like you could easily have $1 million a year from that one revenue stream. So it sounds like this is even the process that you went through to create this higher ticket offer. It was like, okay, this is a 7-figure offer. This is the funnel. Where's it coming from? It sounds like you got 2 funnels, one from your membership pipeline, one from the rest of your audience of people who've bypassed your membership. And then now you're just working on the dominating space. Right now, it sounds like a lot. It sounds like right now you're still in the 5-star delivery point. Like, let's make sure we're crushing these people, and then we will dominate in the space. Correct?
Yeah. So we've got plans to do a Facebook ad campaign for this high ticket offer. And so the dominate is essentially creating multiple funnels that are feeding into the same offer. Yeah. And so we're looking at doing an evergreen Facebook offer with the video sales letter. And even we've hired it's actually a member success strategist. So a person that would essentially take over any sales or consultation calls as as people are getting into that funnel, because it's such a high ticket. We have an application process, there's a deposit, and then they actually move forward once they've placed the deposit to have the interview with myself to make sure that they're a good fit for the mentorship program. And then at that point, after I have the call, they're accepted into the mentorship program.
Yeah, there's all kinds of places there you're going to be able to replace yourself. Like someone else can do that call for sure. Like to make sure they're a good fit. You're going to be able to replace yourself in most of the coaching. You could almost make it too, like where the one day is the thing you do. Do you do that on Zoom, or do you actually go to them?
A few of them have come here, but most of the time it's just on Zoom.
That would be fascinating to just make that the thing. Like they come there, right? Like
that would be fun. I do want to do more in-person retreats.
Yeah. The in-person stuff's really fun because it's contained. You show up for a day, you do your thing, they implement. And then like you could even, like that's where you would remove yourself, is the implementation, the accountability, the follow-up after the one day. Like that could be where the real value is, to make sure, because you've got to be able to scale it or it's not going to help more people. So if anyone's listening to this, like I think that's 4 great steps. And like hearing you like add that offer, seeing the success. I used to be kind of against high ticket, but now I'm like, I'm not serving enough of my audience if I'm not. And like, once we've seen it, like we did, like I told you, I think we were off air. I said we did 300K in sales in like 2 weekends. Right. So like, I've seen the definite cash flow benefit of also being able to do this. But like, what problems have you encountered? Like, where have you gotten stuck? Like, what are the landmines? If someone's about to launch a high ticket offer and they want to charge 25 grand for something, like what hiccups have you had, or potholes that you've tripped over, or things that you're like challenges maybe right now you and your team are like, how are we going to deal with this? Like what's come up from that?
So we've been, the way that we've been launching these cohorts is through a 2-day live event. So we do the Elevate Pharmacy Virtual Summit once a year. Because we're doing opening the cohorts during these live events, now we're doing them 3 times a year. So that in itself is being able to scale a live event from once a year to 3 times a year. Comes with, we got to make sure we've got an email promotion campaign. We've got to make sure we talk to our affiliate partners and promotional partners, and we've got it on the calendar. And there's, all these pieces that go along with promoting an event like this. We've tested it a few different ways. We've tested it with a paid, like a ticketed offer. And this time we're doing a free offer with it, so that even more people.
So the summit itself is free. So you either pay for the summit, you tested that to see the quality of the lead. Now you're just going to be like, oh, let's open it up to see how many people we can get from a free version of this, and that's happening 3 times a year. This big thing to where you can open and close like the cart almost, basically.
Yes.
So energy output sounds like it has went up on the high ticket offer. Like there is more energy in creating it and selling it, basically.
Absolutely. And, and that's because a lot of that still falls on my shoulders. There's been kind of this almost pulling myself back of like, I don't want to do this once a month or anything. Cause it's
you're like, you kind of do. Cause you're like, whoa, 200 grand, but we should probably not do that. Right. Yeah.
But then I also have to think about, I have to show up for 2 days live, because I'm the one teaching these 4 pillars of our success formula, and showing people this is what you can get out of this mentorship, and here's what our other clients have been able to do with their businesses. And for me, it takes a lot of my energy, because Shane, you know me, I'm not exactly a high energy person. I'm not naturally high energy.
Right. Just kind of steady. You got to ramp up. You got to get yourself ramped up for these things. So how long is each day? Is it like 4 hours? Like how long are you doing this?
It's like 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yo, listen, we and you, it's funny because we've not talked in a while, but like these seminars that we're doing, like right now it's me, I'm training 2 guys right now. We got some guys that are training, but it's like, it's legit 9 to 5, 2 days in a row. I mean, it's all you up front. And like, What's funny though, is I swear it's easier to do the 2 long days than it is to do a webinar sometimes. Because like the webinar, you got an hour and a half and you got to figure it out and you've got to get every word that you need to get in. This gives you a little breathing room where you can kind of like, it's like easier to teach, but more energy to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because by the time you get rolling, the webinar's almost over. But
I know, right?
When you have a full day like this, the energy that the crowd gives back and the engagement, and we actually do it just a regular Zoom meeting. So I can see everyone's faces, not webinar style where it's just me on camera, but like see everyone's faces. And, we've got people waving, we've got people typing in the chat. We've got, people having side conversations. Like it's kind of chaotic, but it's fun. And we do, we'll do hot seats. I'll do spur of the moment coaching and be like,
have you used the breakout room? Do you use breakout rooms?
I haven't yet.
Oh my gosh. We've just finally learned how to do it correctly. Like
I don't know. So you're going to have to teach me that.
Well, when I say we, I mean Carrie and Jocelyn. Okay. My team has figured it out. But like they've been using them on our, we do a co-working session once a week with our community. So like people can just come and you're just there together, just hanging out, and you kind of set a goal at the beginning. Everybody turns some music on and you play. And then at the end you say, if you got your thing done. Right. And, but they've been doing breakout sessions to try to put people in like, oh, well, you people are all in this industry. You should go to a breakout room and do your work. Right. And like, it's been pretty interesting watching the interaction in those breakout rooms, but you can do things. I went to a seminar. It was 2 days long on Zoom, and we would go into groups to discuss, like groups of 4. And it was fascinating how much better it just made the group experience of Zoom to not just be one of dozens or hundreds, to be actually in a room with people. It wasn't as good as a live event, but it was very similar to that feel of, what's your name? Where are you from? We got 3 minutes. Let's talk about this. Right. And it was really cool. But I bet your people would love it if you could throw them in breakout rooms. It'd probably be like, that'd probably increase sales just because they'd be happier, I'm
wondering if some of my Inner Circle mentorship clients right now would be interested in leading breakout rooms.
Probably.
To answer questions like after we do the pitch, people kind of get sticker shock, but then they also want to talk to someone who has actually done it and like say, what did you get out of this? And having, having a conversation.
What you should do is you should do that when you present the value, not the price.
Okay.
That should happen before the pitch. Like they should already have had a chance. Like you should mention you have a program, talk about success stories, and then be like, they're here. By the way, like we did this at our seminar, like our back of the room people who were like, after we do pitch at the event. It's a lot of teaching, but we pitch as well. And like, when we pitch, like a lot of my examples are like Jennifer Bradley or like these people, Evan Burst, these people who've been through the community, but they actually came and like were at the event. So like we could, like I always tell about Evan Burst, which is this amazing guy. If you don't follow him, guys, his name's cartoonblot.com, and he draws Marvel superheroes, and it's just amazing business he's created. And I was doing this whole big spiel about him one day, and I was like, oh yeah, by the way, he's in the back of the room. He's here. And everybody freaked out that he was in there. And they got to talk to him like before they even had a chance to buy anything, So you could probably like work that in like day 2, midday. We're going to have breakout rooms. And like maybe the day before you talk about those people, like who they are, but you don't really say they're in your accelerator program. And then you reveal that right before they get to go to breakouts and ask them questions. And then they've already kind of seeded it more naturally before the price.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. I think that we could do that. Like, because we normally do the pitch during lunch, day 2.
Yeah.
So we could maybe do it that morning.
Yeah. You got some time before the pitch that way. Let it settle in. And then you can and pitch the thing. So you sold, this is fascinating. So you sold a $25,000 product basically on a long webinar, on a seminar. Like you did this on Zoom, right? These are people from all over the country. This wasn't like in person. You did this online, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
And I think that, so, we had been doing virtual summits, and last year we'd done okay. We had sold, actually at the end of our virtual summit last year, we had sold our lifetime membership to the Farmerpreneur Academy. Sure. That was our big upsell last year. did great, 85K with that launch. But then this year I was scared because I was like, instead of offering the membership to the academy, we're offering this new program. So I felt like I was kind of taking a chance on maybe nobody wants this and we miss out on selling the lifetime. But it ended up not being that way at all. We did end up.
Oh, you made an $85,000 bet. Is what you did. Like that. Yes. Entrepreneurs, listen up to Blair now. If you got to take a chance every once in a while, if you don't roll the dice, you don't win. So you literally made an $85,000 bet that this would work. And literally you would have lost your opportunity for a whole whatever until you did the summit again.
Yep.
Woo, that's inspiring right there, people. That is absolutely incredible. Gosh almighty. Were you on pins and needles the night before you started this center? Were you like day one, did you feel like, should I bail? Like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of it.
Until we did the pitch on day 2, I was still thinking, I can still get out of this.
Did somebody take it immediately when you sold it, or was it like, oh gosh, like nobody took it for like an hour or two? Like what happened?
No, they were definitely, there was applications that were coming in like as we were talking, and then so those people, it was really fun because some of those people that applied, I got to bring them. I got the email, so then afternoon of day 2, I got to bring them on camera and say, thank you for applying. Like, what made you apply? What are you hoping to get out of this program? So it that's
brilliant. So people who had already purchased proof. Yeah, I'm going to add that to our live seminars. You just gave me an idea. That's brilliant. Like if someone joins in the morning, bring them out like almost like a little, like, why'd you do it session in the afternoon. Yeah. When we first did our first weekend seminar by, before lunch on day 2, no one had bought. And we were like, oh, Jocelyn was freaking out a little bit, because we had 100 people in the room. Everyone was so hyped too, man. It was like the most engagement like we had ever seen in anything we had done. And it was just a little clarification after people just needed to wait a minute. Like you got to be patient when you're pitching something that's 29K or 25K, because people got to think about that, and you got to kind of respect that and like honor that. One thing we added for our seminars, you're changing my thought process. Like maybe this could all be done virtually, like these virtual summits like this. But like one thing that we did too is the day before we changed our objections, like where we present them. Like one thing that we caught every person saying something that high ticket was, I need to ask my spouse about this. Mm-hmm. And like memberships, just join your membership. You know what I mean? So like when we got that, we moved that to day 2. We talked about that objection and we said, hey, go and pray about it. Go and talk to your spouse about it. Like, we don't want you to do this. Like, that's 25K. Like, we don't want to mess you up. Like, if you're in, you're in. We're going to take care of you. If you're not, that's okay. But we actually started like thinking about when we presented objections over the 2-day period to try to get that through. So like, look, we're going to talk for hours, Blair, if we keep going here. But like, so where do you see this going? Do you see an even higher ticket offer? Maybe do you see this settling in right now and just making this work and getting your production flow, remove yourself, and then maybe offering something else? Like where do you see this? And do you still, is this a yin yang for the membership site now? Do you see both of them as like 3 times a year we do this, in between we do the membership, 3 times a year we do it? Like, how do you see all that flowing together?
Yeah, so we're still following we get your newsletter. We did a Labor Day discount. We did a quarterly membership. We still have our lifetime membership. Yeah. Kind of shifted more to an annual membership.
Yeah.
So we keep that in our back pocket because we want people that, honestly can't afford for whatever reason to be able to take us up on the higher ticket offer, to at least begin making some revenue or making some strides in their business, so that they can set that as their goal of I've had people after the live event say, Blair, I didn't apply, but I just wanted you to know that joining your mastermind is on my bucket list, or it's on my list of goals.
It's not just another product. You have created aspirational dreams for your people Like they're like, if I can just get to 6 figures, Blair's program will take me to 7. Like that's incredible that people are already feeling that as just from looking at what you've created, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, for the next year, my goal is to really run 50 people through this mentorship program. And then from there kind of decide,
What it looks
do
like
we
next.
add coaches? Do we, do something completely different? My goal has always been to kind of shift the perception of pharmacists as the people who dispense medicine after you get sick, to shift it much more forward in our patients' journeys. And you and I have talked about this several times, to being more of a preventative partner. Like right now, some of the stuff I do with meditation and genetic testing and nutrition and all of this is actually really on the preventative side of it. So that by the time you are pre-diabetic, pre-hypertensive, at risk for stroke and heart attack, it's kind of too late once you get on all of those medicines. So pharmacists are really the perfect people to jump in to, oh, okay, well, you're healthy right now. Let's talk about some ways to manage the aging process to help you stay healthier so that you don't, become another statistic. And I think that's long-term vision. I don't know if it's a charitable clinic. I don't know if it's a certification program. I don't know what that looks like in the future, but that's where my heart is. It's in prevention of long-term illnesses.
What I love about this conversation, where it ended up right there, is this: like, so many entrepreneurs are like, I'm just going to get 1 million members so I make all this money, or I'm going to add a high ticket so I can make a fortune. But like, when you anchor your mission within these products and when your vision is kind of like the driving force for your products, it's not that you're creating a 25K offer. You're creating a 25K offer that delivers 10x the value, and you're not really even probably charging enough because it's anchored in mission, it's anchored in vision. And that's really why high ticket offers succeed, is because they're anchored in vision, anchored in mission, and they get people results. And Blair, man, you were crushing it and getting people. Blair sent me a message today, goes, I'd love to catch up because I got a whole bunch of stuff to tell you. And I was like, don't tell me. I said, don't Facebook me. Don't send me one more message. We are getting on a podcast to talk about this because I know that everybody is going to learn from it. So real quick, Blair, where can people follow you online?
Pharmapreneur Academy is our site. I'm also on LinkedIn and Instagram under Dr. Blair Thielemier.
And you are definitely not only one of my favorite case studies, success stories, whatever, Flip Lifestyle family members on the planet. But man, I have learned as much watching you and your journey as you probably have from me. And I'm just so thankful you came on the podcast today to let everybody share in the knowledge. So appreciate you, Blair.
Well, I appreciate you having me, and what you and Jocelyn are doing has always been super inspiring to me. And I'm so thankful to have people like you in my life that I can look to and go, okay, we can have these high level conversations and you get it, because I don't have those people in my personal life. So I've kind of built them in my online community.
All right, y'all, that wraps up my interview with Blair. Man, that was an incredible conversation. I learned so much, and I know that you learned a lot as well. That's what I love about this show. I love about my job. I love that I get to sit here and talk to some of the greatest entrepreneurs, authors, and experts on the planet. I just feel blessed to be able to be a part of some of these conversations and to bring them to you every single week. And if you love the show too, if you enjoy these conversations I have, do me a favor, help me spread the word. Go out there and leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. Those reviews really help more people discover the show. They get more people to listen to the show, and it helps me to keep creating great content for you every single week. Also, don't forget to give this show a share on social media. If you enjoyed my conversation with Blair today or any other episodes of the Shane Sams Show, grab that link, post it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, or hey, how about old school? tell a friend in person about the podcast. Just be like, give me your phone. Give me your phone a little bit. Hand me that phone, and then go find the Shane Sams Show and just go ahead and subscribe them. That'd be fine. I actually do that to Uber drivers. My goal whenever I get an Uber or a Lyft is for them to give me their phone, and I put the Flip Lifestyle or the Shane Sams Show podcast on their thing, and I just hope that they listen down the road. So do that. Grab your best friend's phone. I gotta subscribe you to a podcast real quick. You got to hear this guy. Also, if you'd like to become an expert, if you'd like to go out and start an online business, we help people do that too. You can find out all of the stuff that we do to help online entrepreneurs. You can head over to shanesams.com and you'll find links to all of our resources to help you get started. As always, guys, I'd love to hear from you personally as well. You can find me on Twitter at Shane_Sams. That's at Shane_SAM as in man. S at Shane_Sams, where I am on Twitter. I post a lot of random thoughts each day. I'd love to hear from you. Hit me out on a direct message or maybe tweet at me as well. That's all the time I have for this week on the Shane Sams Show. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, get out there, be consistent, be prolific, be relentless. Pick up your stone, cast it out upon the waters, and cause many ripples. I'll try to do the same, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.